Well, between the cost of living, property prices and interest rates, the great Australian dream may seem out of reach for many. But according to the nation's #1 real estate YouTuber, Ravi Sharma, it's very achievable. The journey to get there will just look a little different.
In his very first book, how's this for a title? Get Filthy Rich with Real Estate, Ravi shares his secrets to investing, drawing on the lessons he's learned while amassing a $15 million portfolio, all by the tender age of 32. And here he is. Hiya, Ravi. Nice to see you, mate.
Oh, it's good to be here, guys. Thanks.
Let's go through some of your rules. Firstly, people need to get their finances in order. That's the very first thing.
Yeah, we always start with the baseline. So if we're budgeting, a really good ratio to use is 50, 30, 20. So I want to make it really easy for people listening. 50% goes towards needs, so that's things like shelter, where you're living, rent, bills. 30% should go towards wants, so the sneaky Uber Eats, and then the 20% should go towards investing. And I know it's harder in times like this, but that's where we use those ratios as a bit of a guide.
OK, and you say we need to treat investing like fitness. What do you mean by that?
So just like you go to the gym for the first time, you're not going in and lifting 200 kilos because you'll probably get injured. Same thing is when you want to get started in investing, start with the budgeting, start with the basics, work your way up and then build those investing muscles because, you know, you could get injured the same way you could take on too much risk and get screwed over in investing as well.
So many people still want this dream of their house, right? Getting that first $100,000 can in fact be the most difficult thing. But you say that we can turn the 100K into $5 million in a property portfolio. Yeah,
well, it's possible. It'll take some time and hard work, but it all aligns with your risk appetite. So if you're out there and you've been, saving a lot of money, it takes a lot longer to save for that first 100K to get your first property than it does to start multiplying and compounding that equity from the first property to use as a deposit for your second and third.
OK. Most of us have played Monopoly in our lifetime. You say that this board game, Monopoly, can teach us something about property. What's that?
Well, I don't think anyone's ever played Monopoly and gotten, to first place and won the game by just simply going around the board and collecting 200 as you pass go. They always acquire assets, and that's the same thing we need to apply to everyday life as well. We need to acquire those assets because our cash is losing its value over time with inflation. So if we attach it to hard assets, we can end up winning the game of life as well.
And try not to go to jail in the meantime.
Oh yeah, of course.
Before we let you go, this recent drop in interest rates, very exciting for a lot of people. Should homeowners now be looking to pay off that mortgage, or are we looking to do what you did and get on that investment ladder?
I think there's no, one rule that fits everyone. I think it comes down to what your risk appetite is. Do you have a savings emergency buffer as well? And if you have those things, you've got to think, if I pay down my loan and my interest rate is, say, 6%, can I generate more than 6% somewhere else? And if you can do that, then you're still getting further ahead. But there's a thing called peace of mind, and some people just don't like having debt. I would like to have productive debt that makes me more money versus having non-productive debt that depreciates like a car or something like that.
Yeah. And you've got to have this chat with your accountant and everything as well, right?
100%.
Really work out what it means to you day to day.
And what would you say to younger people? Because these days, employment is so all over the place. There used to be back in the day, you would get a job and that's your job and you'd stick with that. Now, young people these days, do a little bit of work here. What would your advice be to them trying to get ahead on the property market when sometimes employment is a bit all over the place?
Well, look, I think we're in a really good time when it comes to young people generating extra income in line with their interests. 20 years ago, you can't just go, hey, I really like this idea, I'm going to go online and create a business.
Yeah.
Now you can do that. And I think every $10,000 or $20,000 that you do generate from that side hustle that you don't take so seriously and people give you crap for, can actually increase your borrowing capacity by a lot. So that could be ultimately the difference between you purchasing a property this year versus not purchasing for the next 6 or 7 years.
Yeah, OK, good.
Ravi, I know we've only just met, but I feel like we know you quite well. We're probably good mates. Kylie and I would like that opportunity to turn 100,000 into 5 million, but we're a bit busy and a bit lazy. Can we just give you 100,000? Would you mind?
Yeah, I guess we can make some exceptions. We'll make it happen.
You seem like a nice guy. Thank you. Ravi Sharma's book, Retire Filthy Rich with Real Estate. Sounds good, doesn't it? It is out right now. Thank you, mate.
Especially the filthy rich bit.
Yeah, right.
That's a bit.
And the retire bit. And
Thank you, Ravi.
Yeah.